Great start to a Tuesday morning, especially in the summertime. We don't always get days like this.
That's the thing. July's hot and humid. We got a rare one this morning. Embrace it. Open up the windows. Let some fresh air through the house for a little bit anyway before it heats up, because dew points are low, and they're going to actually get lower today, but we have some cool temperatures. We actually had quite a few 50s on the map last hour. Now the sun's up and starting to heat those up, so we're past those, but 66 is where we're at the moment. Low dew point, pretty calm wind. It's a pretty good morning for early July. We had some 50s on the map, couple of lone ones hanging on. The Platte River Valley essentially is where a few of those are hanging on around Louisville, Murdoch. Otherwise, we got some 60s for the most part. Same story outside the metro. Had a few more 50s last hour, and now York looks like they're the last one hanging on. But dew points right up here, right at 60 degrees. You can see there's the 60-degree line, but that'll drop off as we go through the course of the day today. So that means even as we heat up, the dew points drop and the air's still pretty darn comfortable for this time of year. Big dry air masses dropped in from the north, so you can see it's erased any clouds. So we have a very, very quiet stretch here through the day today. Again, you'll be hard-pressed to find any clouds. Let's march through it here, give you a first alert to how it plays out. We have low 70s at 9. We're up into the lower 80s by noon, and then 80s all afternoon. Should top out about 88, 89. That's 2 to 3 degrees above what we had yesterday. But with lower humidity again, pretty good evening on the way. Those temperatures will drop off fairly quickly. By 7 o'clock, we're 87. By 10, we're down in the 70s. Another quiet night on the way as we fall through the 60s. Heading towards early tomorrow morning, and you can see some clouds trying to drop in from the north. By 7 a.m., we're in the 60s and starting to warm from there. It's going to be a hot day. But this little batch of clouds we got to pay attention to, because that could drop in a storm or two from the north. Now, it's not going to be for everybody. Most of us likely stay dry. Best odds for severe to our north on Wednesday with a minimal risk 1 out of 5 on the scale. But if you're on the Iowa side, anybody north of I-80, you got to watch out for a storm dropping in north of the Platte River on the Nebraska side, essentially, where a couple of these could move through. And it's about 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., a little window there right in the middle of the day. I don't expect there to be many, but it's something we got to watch for as we go through the course of the latter morning hours. Now, tomorrow, we start out with pretty low dew points, and then we start to see that humidity uptick. So there goes the good thing we had. We're back into the muggy range for tomorrow, and we start to heat it up a little bit more. 93 on Wednesday, 93 on Thursday. Small chance of a storm there later on Thursday. That doesn't look like too much, but the south winds start to kick up a little bit. So that's what's bringing in a little more heat and a little more humidity with it for the next couple of days.
Okay, speaking of the next couple of days, of course, 4th of July, people already starting to make their plans. Storm chances have increased from even the conversations that we had last week.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be constant storms all evening, but there's going to be a batch, I think, developed to the west we got to watch for. So here's the latest on the 4th of July forecast. 92 for the high. We backed off a little bit from the 94 we had yesterday. Windy conditions. South winds could gust up near 35 miles per hour. And right now, I think anything before 3 o'clock looking pretty good to be storm free. Afterwards, the chances start to go up. Now, I'm hoping we can push this time frame later and later into the evening. That may help us out a little bit and give more outdoor things more of a chance to at least get going without any issues. But you got to plan for weather impacts to outdoor events as we go through the day, especially on the Nebraska side. I think the storms will develop on the Nebraska side and move east, so it could impact fireworks displays by the evening hours. That's something we're going to have to watch for. Notice the humidity going up through the muggy range up into the steamy range this weekend with dew points up into the 70s. So we're getting the humidity back for your 3-day weekend, and we're going to put some lower 90s with it as well. So there you go. There's summer back in full force. Again, unfortunately, the best chance of storms on Friday. It's lining up. The later you go, the better the storm chance. So we'll see how it impacts those scheduled fireworks displays. I guarantee everybody's going to light off their fireworks that they bought at some point. But the big displays that draw crowds of people, you got to worry about the lightning with those. So that's what we'll be watching for.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. All right, Rusty. Thank you. In the meantime, we're going to update on traffic. I-80 starting now to slow down.
You know, it's funny. We were saying all morning long, wow, look at how quiet it is. is. Everything's moving along just fine, and then it's gone. Yeah, we're starting to slow down quite a bit as you're making your way toward that construction zone that we have been mentioning quite a bit. And here's where we're at. This is looking from about L or so westbound toward Giles. You can see how things are starting to back up quite a bit, and everyone hitting the brakes as they head in that direction. Those backups are almost to the 680 interchange, which is where it starts getting into alarming territory for me, because that's where on mornings where we get those backups into that area, it starts to spill onto 680, it starts to spill onto 80 westbound. So the fact that we went from pretty much nothing to this is an indication of some issues that are going to be spreading likely as we head our way through the next 20-30 minutes. So be ready for that possibility if you're about to head to I-80. And a lot of our other delays that we're seeing in the metro are people trying to get onto the interstate. So 144th, that's where you're looking at things a little slow right in the immediate vicinity of the interstate. Same story on 370, particularly as you're going westbound on 370. A little bit of a delay on eastbound I-80 entering the construction zone. That's not as bad as what we're seeing westbound though. And then the JFK has had some periodic delays as you try to make your way northbound on the ramp to go to westbound I-80, though that is looking better than it has been over the last 10 minutes or so. Picking up the traffic for sure. You can see the yellow specks kind of showing up here and there on a lot of our roads, 90th, Dodge, Maple. You're seeing that as an indication that we're getting more and more people on the roadways as we're starting off our day. So watch the interstate. I do think that's something that could become a bigger issue as we're going over the next half hour or so. And of course, we'll be tracking that as we go through that time frame.
All right, Jarrett, thank you. Happening today, a handful of new laws take effect in Nebraska. All colleges must report any funding received from any foreign adversaries. Salaries for state Supreme Court justices will also go up. Cities are now limited in how much they can increase property taxes each year. That law also increases the amount of available relief via property tax credits. Also today, Iowa's hands-free law goes into effect. That means you are not allowed to have your phone in your hand while you're driving. Drivers also cannot call or text anybody while behind the wheel unless that is a hands-free mode device. Now you can still answer calls and follow GPS directions, but only if you set that up before.
This right here is not okay because phone down, eyes up, hands on the wheel. So realistically, if you think about it, if your phone is not in your hands, you should be good to go.
For the next 6 months, law enforcement will issue warnings starting New Year's Day. Violating the law could result in a $100 fine. More Iowa laws take into effect today. One lowers the minimum age for somebody to own a handgun to 18. Another removes gender identity from protections from the state's civil rights code. High schoolers will also need to pass a civics test to graduate in the state. And cities are required to allow fireworks on the 4th of July and the 3rd and on New Year's Eve. Now over to Maria Cade at the safety desk. Maria, many people are getting ready, of course, for the 4th of July, but there is a new COVID-19 variant that is spreading right now.
Yeah, something that we definitely want you to know about. It's called NB181. It's called the Nimbus variant, and it is spreading pretty fast here in the U.S. The latest CDC data shows that it's now causing more than 40% of cases here in America. And experts say that the #1 defining symptom for this variant, it's a razor blade sore throat, something that we don't want. And this is in addition to things like a fever, a runny nose, congestion. Now, to slow down the spread of this variant, doctors say you want to stay home if you're having any symptoms. And if you do have to go out, make sure you wear a mask. Keep washing your hands as well. If you do test positive for COVID, of course, you definitely want to see your healthcare provider. Doctors also say you want to be aware of that sore throat symptom, especially in kids, because they might not have this variant. They could have strep throat, and that would be a different treatment.
Okay, and hopefully kids also will let you know too.
Yes. That they're feeling it.
Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, moving on. Now, whether it's just a week, a long weekend, some people may find themselves actually feeling more drained when they go on vacation when they come back.
Yeah, I think if you're going on a trip that is packed full with a lot of different activities, you might be feeling like you need that vacation after your vacation. So instead of relaxing, it could be really tempting to try and overschedule, see all of those sites or do all of the different things at your resort. But you don't want to do that because it could could burn you out. Now, experts say that this can mean that you're still working while you're on vacation. It's just a different type of work. So to avoid that feeling, experts say make sure you have a to-do list, but also just be okay with going to the flow and listening to your body. Keep your hormones in balance with consistent meals and try and keep your sleep timing on schedule as well. Also try and get that early morning sun exposure. That's going to naturally boost your energy and also reset your circadian rhythm to when you're out of your regular routine. So doctors say things like dark leafy greens, avocados, bananas, pumpkin seeds, eating all of those can also help sort of reset when you come back.
Now, you just got back from a trip.
I did.
Are you feeling any of those, the drain at all?
Not too much. I was at the beach, so it was a relaxing vacation. But I know my family is a big Disney family, so when we go to Disney World, I always feel like I need some time to reset because you're just go, go, go constantly. But this trip, not so much.
Disney is anti-relax, in my opinion.
Very true. You are constantly on the go there, but it's fun.
Yeah, it is, true. Rike, thank you. We're back after this. All right, time now, 7:15. Back here, I should say, in the meantime, we're looking, taking a live look outside, overlooking the Midtown and the downtown areas. Really nice start to a Tuesday morning. Open up the windows, get that dog walk in. Yeah. I wish I was doing that right now. Get some fresh air. We don't always have days like this. Overall, too, a little bit warmer than yesterday's forecast.
I just texted my wife, said, open up the windows, let some fresh air through for the next few hours here because, it's going to heat up today. So get some stuff done this morning. You got really low humidity. That's the biggest thing. We had a couple temperatures in the 50s. Now we're starting to heat those up, and most of us are in the 60s as you head out, and a lot of mid-60s. Same story as you look out across the entire area. So the muggy meter's up here, high into the pleasant range, and it's going to be pleasant all day. We're going to see it actually drop. So the moisture in the air will go down over the course of the day. If you want to head to the pool, let me show you. Today, pretty good. Sunshine, but the UV index is up there. It's a 10 on the scale. Make sure you prepare for that with layers of sunscreen for today. As we climb close to 90 today, should get above 90 tomorrow, and there's a chance of some storms for your pool day early in the afternoon. I think noon to about 3 o'clock. You got the potential for a spotty storm dropping in from the north. Most of us likely stay dry, but 93 is where we'll top out tomorrow. Storm chances, you can see the best odds for those are going to be to the north where the stronger severe threat is, and it's only a 1 out of 5, so I'm not expecting widespread severe, but 1 or 2 of these could have a little bit of energy, and you can see 10 a.m. to about 3 p.m. Here's the window for those on your Wednesday. So the muggy meter then tomorrow starts to go up. by tomorrow afternoon, we'll be up in the muggy range. So it's the opposite. Today we go down. Tomorrow we start our climb back and bring the humidity in play. So as we look at the weather headlines here, a bit warmer, low humidity today. Few spotty storms possible tomorrow. May have a couple more on Thursday as well. And then some humid conditions start to build in. But it's the storms here we get towards the end of the week, towards the 4th of July here on the weather headlines. If we can bring this full screen, you can see storms could impact the outdoor plans. That is going to be the big thing across the area to watch for. How do those storms move through? What's the timing look like? I think that's going to dictate a lot of how the weekend goes for many people.
Yeah. Okay. Looking ahead to that weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. How's that going to shape up? Because the party doesn't stop just on Friday for the 4th.
That's the thing. All the attention's on Friday, but I still think Saturday and Sunday are looking pretty good. We might have some lingering morning storms left over from whatever can get going on Friday on the almost Friday forecast here, but Sunday right now trending to be the driest one with likely little cooler conditions, but hot and windy on the 4th. Bank on that up to 92. Some evening storms looking more and more likely. So I'd say we can push everything after 3 p.m. right now. And hopefully I can keep pushing that start time later and later as we get a little closer. Problem is we're just going to build in all this energy, so we'll see if the atmosphere can hold back a little bit. The humidity goes up, steamy conditions for the weekend, so you're going to have that. South winds all day Friday will easily gust to near 30 miles per hour, but those could touch 35 at times. So we're looking at rainfall potential to be pretty low. If this loads here while there we go. Most of it will be less than an inch, I think, out of anything that falls over the course of the rest of the week and into the early part of the weekend. But we got to pay attention to those storm chances on Friday into early Saturday, I'd say now. This is what we need to watch. Hopefully they're late on Friday, not impacting fireworks displays. If we can get them maybe overnight, that'd be a little bit better as well. So a lot to watch there in the forecast, but Friday's the one to pay attention to. Small chances of some storms, it looks like, by Wednesday.
The sneaky benefit, if we got those overnight, it would kind of clear away some of that fireworks smoke and help out the air quality.
True.
That's
a good point.
Sometimes an issue for us July 5th morning.
Yeah, if the air's kind of stagnant, that can hang around here. And that's a good point. I never thought about that.
Yeah. Good job, Jared.
Well done.
Okay. In the meantime, I was going to update on traffic. How are things shaping up across the metro?
Yeah, so we've had those delays building on I-80, so I'm watching that closely. Let's give you a view of that and the rest of the metro. That top left will load here in a minute. That's that I-80 delay. And so if you look at the distance, that's what's concerning me a little bit here. As I bring this full screen, you can see there's delays that are stretching now all the way into that 680 interchange. So we'll see if those continue to build. That could be a problem for any westbound drivers through that stretch. Even onto 680 and 80, we could start to see those delays build. But elsewhere, we're not really seeing too many big issues at this point. So it's all about what we've got going on there westbound as you head into that construction zone. Just how much do we get a domino effect onto our other interstate stretches there. I do want to real quick give you a first alert to this. This is an update that literally just came in to our newsroom within the last 10 minutes or so. We've been telling you about this Farnham closure. Eastbound is closed between 46th and Saddle Creek. However, we have gotten the notification westbound has been postponed. So that's going to remain open for the next 3 weeks with this stretch of work that's happening. So that's good news for anyone who typically goes westbound on Farnham in that stretch. But keep in mind that eastbound is going to stay closed for the next 3 weeks. You'll need to work around that. Other roads looking pretty good. Small delays on the JFK northbound near I-80, but we don't have any other big problems. I'll keep an eye on that I-80 stretch, though, and see if we have problems that compound on each other.
Okay, Jared, thank you. Coming up, we take a closer look at some must-see movies coming out this month, the flicks you're going to want to flock to the theater for when we come back. Well, summertime, of course, can be great, but sometimes it gets just a little bit too warm. And us humans aren't the only ones who need to stay cool. Whipsnade Zoo in the UK, a herd of Asian elephants cooled off in their own private pool. They can be seen making a big splash amid soaring temperatures worldwide, while the elephant keeper gives the elephants a refreshing shower.
I like when they play with the hose.
Oh, a little baby one too.
Aww.
They're just having a fun time.
That's cool.
Well, the summer too, of course, not just the heat. There's always those big summer movies that come out,
Got
right?
it.
July, there's a lot of blockbusters that are coming to theaters this month. First one, dinosaurs stomping back into theaters ahead of the 4th of July weekend. It's the arrival of Jurassic World Rebirth. The film stars Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, and Mahershala Ali. On July 11th, James Gunn's Superman is coming out. Then the live-action CGI hybrid Smurfs features an all-star voice cast.
CGI Smurfs. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes, no, they're animated, and then there's real people in it too.
Oh, wow.
Rihanna, she's playing Smurfette, so I think a lot of people are going to be excited for that. And then on July 25th, Marvel's First Family flies into theaters. It's Fantastic Four First Steps, starring Pedro Pascal. Anybody excited for any of those?
I always get a kick out of the Jurassic World continued I mean, they're great movies, but I always think, haven't they learned their lesson at this point?
No.
You don't play God.
They always do the scene too where they look slowly over their shoulder and they see the dinosaur every time.
Okay. Unfortunately, that's not all the time we have to talk about that. All right. Thank you for joining us. You can watch us while we work for our first cut-in. Have a great start to your Tuesday.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
All right, good to have you with us on this Tuesday morning. I'm Erin Hartley. Let's get right to your traffic this morning with Jarrett Lansford.
And one of the areas I've been watching real closely, I-80, as you're heading westbound in the construction zone, more backups than usual. That's all the way to the 680 interchange. That's what you're seeing happen here. So my concern is that we continue to see these build and it ends up being a domino effect with impacts onto westbound I-80 near 84th. There were 680. So that's something I'll keep an eye on. For now, you need to watch those right around L and into the 680 interchange as you're heading westbound. A little slow eastbound as well. Many of our other roads, though, are actually moving along pretty well. No real big delays that are showing up on those. Rusty.
Thanks, Jared. Out there this morning, one of the cooler, more comfortable mornings we're probably going to have in the month of July, and it's right here to start off the month. And numbers in the 60s in every single spot. We did have some 50s earlier. Those have since warmed considerably in a lot of spots. The dew point starting off near the muggy range, but let me tell you, this is the key to the day today. Notice how these drop off, getting close to refreshing in the afternoon. So we get 80s with low dew points today, abundant sunshine. This is a top shelf day today for what we usually get in July. We get sunshine and up to about 89 degrees for the high today. Enjoy it. It does get hotter, a little more humid over the weekend, the rest of the week, I should say. 93 Wednesday, 93 on Thursday. Some spotty storms possible right in the middle of the day on Wednesday, and then the focus turns to the 4th of July here with 60% chance of storms after 3 p.m. into the evening hours on Friday. Aaron?
A handful of laws take effect in Nebraska starting today. Among those, an increase in salaries for state Supreme Court justices. Cities are also now limited in how much they can increase property taxes each year. The time now is 7:28. Back here in about 25 minutes with another update.